I'm George Contini. I'm a professor in the Department of Theater and Film Studies. Today I want to talk to you about embodied teaching. Acting is an embodied art, no question. But for those of us who teach, we often enter the classroom with the same trepidation and expectation that actors face every time they face an audience. Will I be able to hold their attention? Is my pulse quickening? Do I have butterflies in my stomach? Will they overlook the fact that I'm an imposter? Do I know my lines? Teaching is also an embodied art. As someone who teaches acting, its history, and its theories, I understand the multiple levels of performance that are occurring in every classroom encounter. But oddly enough, in my past teaching, I have steered clear of ever actually performing in class for my students. I wanted that time to be about them, in the spotlight. I didn't want to come across as that professor who uses his time in class to satisfy his unmet needs for admiration and glory. I didn't want to come across as desperate or egocentric. So amazingly, I never performed in my classes. I was drawn to teaching my courses through more traditional ways of knowing, framed to show that I was an expert. COVID changed all that. The class I was teaching when lockdown occurred was queer theater and film history. I was stuck at home and needed to create interesting lectures for a class of 60 students, not all of whom had reliable internet, so I chose to teach classes asynchronously. This meant I would no longer have that instant give and take of the classroom, but quickly I realized I didn't need it. By taking me out of the classroom, I was presented an opportunity to rely on my gifts as a performer, to deliver material in a manner that amplified its meaning, and in this particular class, to be a walking embodiment of queer performance. Ironically, the place I went to start finding things to teach about queer history was in my closet. So I went back into the closet and pulled out every toy, costume, hat, wig, piece of jewelry I could find. I decided I was going to not just teach queer history, I was going to be queer history. And as the class went on, I came to understand that for these students, in many ways, I am basically a living timeline of queer history. So I began to teach the class content using all the queer iconography and paraphernalia that I had collected over the years. It made the content all the more personal, authentic, and timely. And it emphasized the basis of queer performance that I had been stressing since the start of the semester. That there is a bricolage that occurs for queer folks as we bring together disparate cultural artifacts to create our own cohesive queer identity. The examples I used in these videos ranged from popular cultural references like the Tiger King.
Hey y'all, it's Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, and I'm here to give you an introduction to the 1970s and the performance of bisexuality. Hell, what better person to talk about bisexuality than me? I'm married to straight guys, and the 1970s, well, that's my decade, man. If Siegfried and Roy and Boss Hogg had a child, it'd be me.
To lectures on camp and Athens' own B-52s.
B-52s said, hey, let's take this style and let's rock it. And they were campy as hell. We love the B-52s. And they're from Athens, so who doesn't love them?
To humorous reflection on scholarly articles. In this clip, I reviewed concepts from Christine Esterbrook's article, A Certain Swagger When I Walk, about lesbian performativity of gender and sexuality.
Good day, mates, and welcome to another episode of Dyke Spotters. Well, you know, recently I've been reading an article called Certain Swagger When I Walk, and in it, the author talks about playing Spot the Dyke. So, I thought we'd give it a go today. Now, I've got my copies of Odd Girls and Twilight Lovers, and You Know You're Gay When ellipses. So, I think we'll do all right. So, come on. Oh, we're in luck. Look at that. Oh, look at that there. It's a classic stone butch. Ooh, and over there's a lovely lipstick lesbian. And her sapphic sister, the chapstick lesbian. Look at that old bulldagger.
To popular music? To using gay icons to recreate gay performance?
There's a story here. I'm not quite certain what. Oh, Gaveston, I love you so much. Oh, Ned, I love you too. I certainly hope no one finds out about our forbidden love. Oh, it's so horrible, Gaveston, that you have been banished from the castle. Here, take this photo of me, so you may think of me always. Oh, Ned, I shall never forget you. Oh, wait, did you hear something? Edward! Edward! Edward? Gaveston? Yes, it's true. We love one another. No! There might be something there.
Drag performance?
You know what I hear is the chic thing to do these days? It's to go slumming downtown at one of those underground clubs or cabarets. Oh, yeah, it's the Cat's Meow. Oh, and you get to hear people like that Bessie Smith and Gladys Bentley and Billie Holiday. And you know what I hear? I hear some of those girls lean toward the lavender side, if you know what I mean. Oh, come on! Don't be a Melvin! Raspberries, it'll be fun! Come on! 23 skidoo!
And personal reflections from the AIDS crisis.
Gay culture was incredibly ghettoized. We lived in certain pockets in certain cities. AIDS forced all of this to absolutely reshuffle. Couples were members of a relationship died. People who had promiscuous sex were dying. There were new rules. Relatives who hadn't been told that their son was gay were suddenly being told not only were they gay, but that they were going to be dead in 24 hours. Oh my God. This is a hard lecture for me to do. There were so many people who had not come out to their parents, and they would die, and we would get a call, and it would be like, oh my God, so-and-so's mother is coming to pick up their body in the morgue tomorrow. They don't know they're gay. We have to go to their house and clean out all their porn. And so we would go to their house, and we would go through their closets and their drawers, and we would pick up anything that said that they were gay. And we would throw it in the trash. And so a part of them, a part of who they were, a part of what was a year ago had been something they were celebrating and proud of, was suddenly thrown in the trash. There's going to be a lot of cuts, I think, in this lecture today, because I'm just going to keep getting upset. All right, so in my own situation, I hadn't even tested positive. I was not ill, but my own sister denied me. I flew out to Arizona to see her, had a whole vacation planned, and when I flew out there, she wouldn't give me directions to her house. She didn't want me coming anywhere near the family because I was gay, and so therefore I was going to, pass this disease on to her children. We haven't really had a good relationship since then.
One of my favorite comments I received was after I lectured on living through the AIDS epidemic of the 80s. One of my queer students posted on the ELC discussion, "I really appreciate your personal insight in all of our lectures, but especially this one. I feel as if sometimes I get so caught up on the amazing, energetic human being that you are, that I forget you've been through some real shit. You have experienced the highs and lows that make our community what it is today. Thank you so much for being so open." Indeed, student responses to ELC discussions were far superior and more thoughtful and expressive than I've ever had in any other previous classes. It seemed that they felt freer to admit their feelings and didn't feel the judgment of speaking out in class. Their posts were raw and deeply felt responses that consistently moved me and made me want to create an even better lecture the next time. I was also struck with how many students actually shared my video lectures with family members, or they even sat down with their parents to watch my weekly queer history lesson. This then created dialogue between parents and their children around queer theater, queer presentation of characters, and queer behavior. That is astounding. I could not have asked for a better outcome. So, my innovation in teaching wasn't necessarily groundbreaking in terms of technique. I mean, we all had to teach remotely. But it was innovative on a personal level and incredibly satisfying. I came to understand that my body is a repository of queer knowledge. Sure, I've read all the books and I have a bibliography in my brain to back it all up, but even more so, my body contains every gay role I have ever performed on stage, every act-up protest I have ever taken part in, every performative gesture and look I used when I was out cruising in a club, every tear I shed for a dying gay brother or sister, every move I used when I dressed in drag, and every beat of my heart as I danced to YMCA. That knowledge is one of a kind. And it's contained in only one book, me. I want my students to have access to that library and to check out that book and then write their own. Thank you.
That's all, folks.